Brendon McCullum joins myself and Nas. Great to see you, Baz. Thanks very much for your time. Box office series, and one to come, but let's look back. What are your memories of that series against India?
Yeah, ripping series. I thought, obviously, we knew when India arrived in England, we knew that they were going to come with a very good side. They had a slight change in their leadership, obviously, with Shubman Gill taking over. I know Gautam Gambhir very well. I know how good a coach he is, but also how strong a personality and character is. And so always knew that it was going to be a tough series. And I thought the way that our boys played was fantastic. Watching back over some of those highlights, you might look at it and say it was a bit of a missed opportunity, but at the same time, I thought both teams deserved to walk away with 2-2, and I thought it was just a great series, and it was well supported by everyone around the country and around the world too. So it was a nice one to be involved in, and I'm sure the next one will be quite good fun too.
We'll come on to that in due course. What were your learnings though from that series, would you say?
Look, I think from a tempo point of view, I thought we balanced things a little bit better. I thought in the games that we got it right, particularly with bat in hand, I thought we probably added just an element of craft in regards to when to throttle back and when to power up in terms of trying to put pressure on the opposition. I thought we grew up quite a lot through that series against a very good bowling lineup. And from a bowling point of view, I thought we saw the emergence of the fast bowling cartel we've been trying to build over the last couple of years grow up as well. And I thought they stood up, the likes of Josh Tongue and Gus Atkinson at the back end. Obviously, the reintroduction of Jofra Archer after a long time, and Brydon Cast, and there was lots of injuries throughout the series too, unfortunately. But I thought overall we left the series thinking that we'd become a better team, albeit with a 2-2 result.
Just the reintroduction of Jofra, you touched it on there. I mean, you have micromanaged rightly for a very long time. Yourself, Rob Key, everyone involved to get him right. How pleased are you with the end product and how he's gone?
Yeah, look, it's been a huge commitment, not just from Joff and the people you mentioned, but also all the people in behind the scenes, the medical people, the guys who are doing the bowling loads for Joff, and the amount of trust and preparation and structure that you need to put into place to get a Group 1 performer in Joff back out on the park with the injuries that he had is immensely satisfying. And we're not quite there yet. But we're close, and we've seen just quite how damaging he can be. And I think when you head down to a series that is coming against Australia and the conditions we're going to face and the opposition we're going to face, to have someone like Joff at your disposal is going to give you every possible chance. But look, Joff's been amazing. It must have been so difficult for him, not just physically but mentally, being on the sidelines for as long as he has. And I think we've done it quite well, and Joff has been the one who's really put the work in, and he's trusted in those who are around to look after him. So fingers crossed, we see him at his absolute best down in Australia in a couple of months.
Are you still having to manage him? Is that process continuing with that minute, down to the detail bit of what he's got to do, the loads, etc., etc.? Because you mentioned his mental health and how difficult that might be, that he hasn't been able to just go out and play. Do you get a sense that he's getting a little frustrated now and he just wants to go?
Yes and no. Like, Joff knows what the big prize is, right? And he's all in on that plan. And there's certain times where you have a plan and you might need to adapt to it. I think we saw that at Cardiff the other night when the outfield was slippery. We didn't want to necessarily. We've come so far with someone like Joff and being a multi-format player now. You want to make sure that you look after him from that point of view too. So, you've got to be slightly adaptable at times, and even as we look forward to the New Zealand series, we'll have to be adaptable too to make sure he's cherry right for the Ashes.
That series got spicy, that India series, which was great to watch. I'm sure you loved it. I'm sure the players enjoyed being involved with it. Were you impressed with how they reacted to when it got a bit spicy?
Yeah, I thought it was good spice though, Wardy. I think both teams, it's kind of what you want, right? You play the game as hard as you possibly can with immense passion, as you're representing your country, and you're trying to get across the line, and both teams didn't give an inch. I thought it added to the theatre, added to the drama, and I think it created that even more atmosphere to what was a brilliant series. And I was delighted with the way the guys reacted, because I thought it was a great sign of the unity within the team, that you're going to stick together in every situation. And yeah, as a fan, it was brilliant to watch, and as a coach, it was warming to see that unity.
And you were instrumental, I think, when they went at Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett that late evening, some slight time wasting to face that one over. You felt the next day, go hard at them, go at India, and the boys reacted well, because you're going to need that as well with what lies ahead. You're going to need a bit of toughness, and when sides come at you, make sure you give it back.
Yeah, and that's not just in terms of your attitude as such, or the way that you go at the opposition. It's also, we've said all the way through that when we got bat in hand, or when we're bowling, we're looking to try and work out where the pressure points are, where the moments are where you do have to throttle down a little bit, and other times where you really do have to power up and put the game to the opposition, and that also includes the rhythm and the tempo of the atmosphere out in the game. So that was one of those examples, and I thought the boys were brilliant at it. And fair play to India, they came back as well in that series in a couple of situations where they were behind the game, and they were able to be able to drag themselves together as a group and push towards what they were trying to achieve too. So again, I thought it was an absolutely brilliant series, and it was so well attended, and I thought everyone that witnessed those games walked away thinking Test cricket's in pretty good health.
You said a missed opportunity. There is a slight trend of just fading away towards the end of a series. Any reason for that for the last couple of games, whether it be the bowling, whether it be the schedule, whether it be sides just come back at you? How do you keep the intensity throughout what is a very, very busy period?
Yeah, look, I think there's only been a couple of series. I think obviously we didn't win that last test against India, and we lost against Sri Lanka, and we lost in New Zealand. But before that, to come back from 2-0 down in the Ashes and to play our best cricket at the back end of a 5-test series, I think sometimes it can be slightly situational, and you're always looking at it, right? You're always trying to work out the health of the army and make sure that you've got guys who are going to be at the top of their game late in a series as well. We have used, I guess, series to try and introduce new talent as well, and to give perhaps some guys who have had heavy workloads a bit of a breather. So that's always a delicate balancing act, and that's something we'll continue to try and work on.
You just go back a step. When Baz talks about unity, and you mentioned that Zach Crawley incident at Lords, are there similarities between that and perhaps what happened in 2005 in a one-day series ahead of the Ashes, where Simon Jones threw the ball at Matthew Hayton, Big Matty came charging down the pitch, and as one, the players came together?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you knew at that moment that what lay ahead in the Ashes was going to be England wouldn't bottle it. They may lose the Ashes in 2005, but they wouldn't lose it because they were timid or fearful of an Australian side. And it was a key moment. Collingwood came in from one side. Even that Jazza Strauss ran in from backward point or something to have a word in a very posh, hello there, what's going on? So you knew that it was going to be, and that's what Brendon knows, that when you go to Australia, you're not just taking on 11 cricketers, you're taking on a nation, especially what happened in the last Ashes series and the Bairstow incident and everything that's gone on, and it's already started. The mind games have already started. You know, David Warner with his surfboard on Joe Root's pads, etc., on his legs. So you just know when you go, it's going to be on and off the field. Whatever you do, you're going to be under a microscope, and they're going to come at you hard, and you're just going to need tough cricketers. If you look in the history of English cricket, who has done well against Australia? It has been tough cricketers that have great belief, whether it be Botham or Stokes or Flintoff or Peterson, people who have great belief, who won't take a backward step, who will go hard, and that's what you're going to need in Australia, in my opinion.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree, and I think that's why from our point of view, we've been trying to set ourselves up for that exact thing. You know, when you head down to Australia, you've got a settled group of batters. You've got a wicketkeeper batter who can counter punch at 7. You've got a cartel of fast bowlers which you can keep throwing punches with. You've got an inspirational captain, and more than anything, you've got a united side and a team that is able to handle situations of pressure and is able to block out outside noise and focus on what you're trying to do and keep moving towards the flag, so to speak. And that's what, you know, it doesn't guarantee you success, and there will be times and moments throughout that couple of months where it will be challenged, but you've done the work, you've put the preparation, and you go down there with what your plans were a few years ago and what you've been working towards, and now it's how we handle the pressure and how we handle those moments, and whether we can win those big moments and stand up when the pressure's at its highest and the lights are at their brightest. And I mean, what an opportunity that is. It is an unbelievable opportunity, and it's going to be a a cracking series. We know Australia are a very good cricket team. We know Australia is an incredibly difficult country to tour, and we know we're going to be tested. But the prize at the end is worth the fight, and we'll see where we are.
And where are you with Mark Wood? We've spoken about Jofra Archer. 2 more championship games coming up. Are you expecting him to feature for Durham? Where is Woody with his game at the moment? His body, more importantly.
Yeah, look, he's progressing. We've taken things pretty carefully with Woody, and he's had a couple of minor setbacks throughout. But again, the work that he puts in, the constant rehab he's had to do over his career, and his thirst and enthusiasm to represent his country and to play with his mates is undoubtable. And we know when he's at his best, he terrifies opposition bowlers and opposition batters, and he can be a match winner in the blink of an eye. And I think he's one of those fast bowlers that hopefully he is fully fit. We're very confident that we'll have him fit and ready for the Ashes and ready to unleash thunderbolts.
If he is fully fit, we had Ricky Ponting over. Ricky said go hard at Australia up front at Perth, play Archer and Wood. I think Mike Atherton has said the same. Could you go Wood, Archer, Stokes in a 4-man pace attack, or is that too risky with the injury history there?
No, it's not too risky. I think you've just got to work out what you think. I don't disagree. I think you need to land an early blow, right? And I think both teams will be looking to do the same. But you've just got to work out what conditions suit which bowlers to be able to be at their most effective as well, knowing that it is a 5-test series. But in principle, yes, you'd like to unleash some pretty fast bowlers early in the series, but we'll just have to work out what that looks like as we get closer.
How is the captain?
Yep, progressing well. I mean, everyone knows Stokes' thirst for hard work and his enthusiasm to captain England and lead his men down to Australia for the challenge which awaits. And he'll be ready to go. He's progressing well, and he's excited about what comes up. But I anticipate that he'll be fully fit and ready to go for that series.
It's a 20-over spell for him day one of the first Ashes test in Perth.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but that's something we'll always keep working with the skipper on. But you know what it's what makes Stokesy great too, is that competitiveness and the ability to put himself through pain and take himself to some dark places in the hope of leading his team to glory. So we'll keep trying to manage that, but it's hard to hold someone like that back.
He's obviously the integral part of the whole thing. How do you plan perhaps for a test match in Australia or 2 test matches in Australia where he may not be there because he may have bowled a 20-over spell and he's gone into a dark place and can't pull up for the next test match? Have you thought how you balance the side? Is that too far away? Is that so much to do with conditions and where you're at in the series, etc.?
Yeah, I think there's a multitude of things which can unfold to if that was to happen, but we've got a few thoughts in our head about how that would happen, and we all hope that it won't.
Sure.
But it may well do, and if so, then we've got a few options up our sleeve.
What I like about you and your setup is you don't listen to external noise. You believe in what you're doing and you're going to stick with that. But you know if things don't go well in Australia, the external noise will be about preparation. It always is. They always go back to 2010-11 when England won. The last time they won down there, they played 3 or 4 warm-up games. How do you see warm-ups and preparation? Are you using the New Zealand white ball tour as preparation for the Ashes? And do you obviously think that's enough and there is no other way?
Yeah, I think times have changed as well, Nass. I think the schedule in the game is a lot more demanding. There's a lot less downtime afforded to people as well. And these guys they're young, they're developing, their lives are developing as well. There's priorities everywhere in their lives, so you've got to be conscious of being able to give them downtime at certain times as well. But I think in terms of preparation, if there was an exact way to prepare which guarantees you success, then everyone would do it. But there isn't. So you've got to have conviction in what you believe, and for us, creating that environment and that which we've been building towards over the last few years, where guys understand how they can get themselves best fit and ready to perform at the elite level under the biggest microscope is what we've been sort of working towards. So from our point of view, we do have a white ball series heading to New Zealand. There will be some crossover there. There's also Lions who are heading down to Australia well in advance of where the main side arrive, and we'll use that as an opportunity as well to get plenty of time and energy into the guys' legs and make sure that we're warm to the conditions. And then we've got what's going to be a fantastic warm-up game scheduled against the Lions. So you get the best of English cricket, duking it out in what will be our final hit out to head into that first test in Perth. And like, I'm a horse racing man, right? And you've got to peak. You've got to build yourself to be able to peak for your big events. You can't just keep going around the track week after week after week and expect to be able to win a Group 1. So from our point of view, we have conviction in this. We've had, to be fair to our setup as well, we've won, I think, every first test of our away series since we took over, and we're following exactly the same preparation as what we are heading into Australia. So, I think from our point of view, we've got conviction in what we believe, and time will tell how we go.
Can I talk to you about spin heading down under? Who's your number one? Who's your number two? What are you doing on that front?
Well, I probably forgot to mention before, Shoaib Bashir, to be able to head down to Australia as well with a tall off spinner that generates good bounce, and I'm not saying he's Nathan Lyon, but he generates significant bounce, and in Australia you need bounce if you're a spinner. So again, that's a project we've been working towards for a couple of years, and I think Bash has been superb. I mean, I know his average is 39, and he's got 68 test wickets and only a couple of first-class wickets, but he's learning on the job. But when you look at that average, you've also got to remember the majority of those games he hasn't had favourable conditions. He's been bowling because of our preference at times to want to bowl first. He's been having to bowl with unfavourable conditions, and we also, I think you'll see, like, the attacking fields that we set, and whilst he might not necessarily have the low average, he has a significant role to play within our side, and we have scored a lot of runs, have taken a lot of wickets at the other end when he's been operating. But when he has been afforded opportunities to bowl teams out in the last innings, he's performed.
What about the second spinner then? Because obviously Jack Leach is still around and I believe still under contract. You tried Liam Dawson against India. Where does Rehan Ahmed fit into this? Who do you see as backup to Shoaib Bashir if he's going as number one?
Yeah, well, those are the conversations that we're ongoing. We're still having at the moment. We haven't finalised our Ashes squad as yet, sure. But over the next week or so we'll drill down on that, and whoever we pick will be confident if needed they'll perform.
But what do you want from your second spinner? Because you want height. You've got that with Bashir. The others I've just mentioned are sort of your and my size in stature, which is a little bit shorter.
We'll let you know in a week or so, Woody.
What about someone we haven't talked about, Joe Root? I think Matthew Hayden said the other day he would run naked round the MCG if Joe Root doesn't get 100 in Australia. I've never been so keen for Joe to get 100 for that very reason.
Steady.
No, I'm saying he's going to get 100. He's too high a quality player to miss out, isn't he? I mean, his stats are good. Does it matter that if he doesn't get 100 as long as he's scoring runs?
Yeah, as long as he's scoring runs. I mean, I know in this game statistics are held in such high regard, and I understand why. But Joe, what he's done for us over the time that I've been in this job has been unbelievable. His role not just of scoring runs, but takes a very strong character and a very giving character to be able to come away from the captaincy, fall back into the ranks, and to give what he's given to the operation over the last few years. And he continues to get better and better. He made mention recently of how he's adjusted his game over the last couple of years to step away a little bit from the technical aspect of the game and focus more on playing the tactical side of the game. And I think his knowledge that he's been able to pass on to the other guys has hastened the process of our batting group over the last few years. And I'm sure with that mentality, as you head down to Australia and confronted with the conditions and the bowlers that they have, to be able to play the game rather than a fascination with technique, it's going to give him every opportunity. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had a huge series down there.
How are you, by the way? I mean, it's the first summer that you're doing both formats, every format. Some have been concerned about your workload. You'd be off in New Zealand now if you weren't doing the white ball stuff. Have you coped okay with it all? You've got that energy for what lies ahead?
Yeah, I'm sound. My putting's gone, but otherwise, everything else is pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Putter though, that will
I bought a new putter. You just throw money at it. I mean, everything
always works.
Yeah, well,
That's
we'll
why
see.
you got 20 in the shed.
But no, I'm sound. Honestly, it's an incredible position to be in, to be able to work with some of the most talented players in the world, to work with the England setup where talent is not a problem. The reach is fantastic. The support we get's amazing from the fans and all those around. I've got a great boss in Rob Key. We've got great captains, and Ben Stokes, Harry Brook, and to be able to, and a great support staff as well and coaches. It's an incredibly lucky position to be in, and I feel very humbled to be in the position. And every time I come away, it's genuinely enthusiastic. And there's always a balance around the family stuff, and I like to sort of bring my family along for the ride too. But thoroughly enjoying it and look forward to what's coming up.
How's Harry travelling? Obviously, he was player of the series against India in the Test matches, and that was a very condensed, demanding schedule. White ball captain, etc. At some point, I know he's going to get a little break and on, but then he's got the Ashes and he's got stuff in New Zealand. That's off the World T20. You've had to rest Ben Duckett and Jamie Smith because they looked a little bit fatigued. How are you managing him? How's he travelling with it?
Yeah, he's good. He's obviously, he's coming towards the end of the season. Sometimes you can see that finish line, and he'll definitely benefit from the freshen up before we head down to New Zealand and on to Australia. But he's been fantastic, honestly, for a young captain to take over the role and to remain so authentic to who he is and keep things so simple is fantastic. He's a great bloke. He's got a great cricketing mind on in his head, and he's got great connections throughout the group. And I think he's going to do a wonderful job in the role that he's in. And also, when it comes to Test cricket, we know how talented he is. And again, he's a huge player for us in our next little while. But he's going good. He will benefit from a freshen up. But for now, he's been enjoying the enthusiasm that the white ball group has brought at the back end of the summer.
Wardy mentioned the schedule there. Do you have any say in the schedule, and should you have more say? I mean, 2 days after the 100 finishes, some of you are meeting up, you're all sort of getting together. No wonder it's a slow start to the 50 over series. By the end, you're absolutely smashing it. Same here. Do you think you should have more say and ask the questions, why did that happen this year? And can you make sure it doesn't happen in the future so that we do give our 50 over squad the best chance, so we don't complain when we get to a World Cup that we've underperformed?
Well, for a start, we don't complain if we underperform. We wear it on the chin. But look, I think the scheduling, in short answer, no, we don't have the input into the scheduling. Well, I don't have an input into the scheduling, and also the scheduling is done obviously a fair way in advance, and there's certain aspects of it, and the landscape shifting, right? Obviously, the 100 now is a huge tournament and around the world. Like it's generated significant revenue or significant money for the franchises, and I'm assuming that the money for the players is going to go up in short time as well. So, you've got to be aware of all that stuff. It's not ideal, the scheduling. It's not ideal, but at the same time, we've got to find ways to be able to adapt to that schedule, because that challenge won't change. It is the first time I've sort of met the guys before a cricket tour where you meet up the day before the game. And, I've got to look at ways as a coach to be able to get us to hit the ground running a bit quicker. And that's down to that cultural element, so the guys have that enthusiasm when they arrive. They can switch off from whatever has gone before, whether they've had a great experience in that previous franchise or they've missed out a few times, they haven't performed well. When you come back into the setup, how do you switch into the mentality that we want, which is for our guys to feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof? And we didn't maybe quite get that right in the first game of this white ball series, and that's something I'll need to think about along with our other coaches as we move forward.
I'm conscious you've been very generous with your time. I just like to ask you one more generic about the white ball cricket and that you've seen in general. What's pleased you? What would you say is still in the in-tray of to-do list?
What's pleased me? Well, there's lots that's pleased me. I think if you look through that batting lineup, I think it looks incredibly powerful. It's got a little bit slightly different look to it as well now with the emergence of Jacob Bethel. Obviously him being left-handed gives us a bit of a significance as well. The reintroduction of Sam Curran, who's been very good in the games that he's played. Phil Salt, Josh Butler, Harry Brook, all these guys have done really well in certain aspects. Joe Root. I think we'll see the likes of Will Jackson and Tom Banton as well in slightly unfamiliar roles, but we know the power that they possess, and I think that gives us an option to be able to play quite a powerful white ball game. And I think for us, we've got some very good bowling options when it comes to white ball too. We just probably need to keep upskilling, particularly our seamers, keep upskilling us with various options so that in varying conditions we can be slightly more adaptable. But look, it's going to take time with the setup, but time is kind of on our side when it comes to the one-day team, because the next big event is obviously 2027, which you build towards. But when it comes to T20, I feel like we're not too far away, and we'll find out in the not too distant future how we get on. But I think I hope we're trending in the right way.
We might not get any cricket today. We'll see what the weather gods have in store, but this will be a nice time afterwards for you to get a little break yourself. Enjoy your downtime.
Lads head to Ireland, which, as much as it sounds fantastic, there's a few things in Ireland which I quite enjoy. The golf courses in McGuinness. But Trez and Jeet's going to take that tour. It's only a short tour, and it's a great opportunity to just spend a week to freshen up. A lot of the multi-format guys are obviously missing that tour too, and we'll try and get everyone fresh enough so that when we arrive down in the southern hemisphere, I'll make sure everything's taken care of in New Zealand and wait for their arrival. And once they all arrive, we should be cherry ripe for what comes our way.
Appreciate your time.
Cheers,
Thanks, Baz.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Catch you soon. Enjoy a bit of time off.